Let's have a little chat, shall we? Give me 1 second. I want to talk about social distancing a little bit more. Usually when I start focusing in on a particular topic, it's usually because I'm getting a channel from somewhere. Everyone is so up in arms about social distancing, but I talked about this, and that probably was a premonition coming through that I just didn't recognize. But I talked about this maybe a month or two before, maybe more. But within 3 or 4 months, I want to say, just to be on the safe side, I talked about how we were losing our identities and how we were being soul sucked by this so called technology that we use nowadays. You understand what I'm saying? And I think I was I can't remember the video, but I think I was talking about how we have become so disconnected from each other as a fucking society, especially black people. We've drank the Kool Aid. So I said all that to say this: social distancing started with YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and all of these other social media outlets and apps that has caused a distance between people in general. Let me say that again. Social distancing, or let me say it in another way, social distancing did not start with the coronavirus. Social distancing has been pushed on us secretly for a long time, and we drank the Kool-Aid. All you have to do is go back to the one device that we all have, and that's a cell phone. Most people don't even really want to have any type of before the coronavirus. Most people don't even want to have any real human interaction. They would rather stay on their phone looking down all day. That's where it started. That's where the ritualization, aka the experiment, started in some ways, or that is where it began to spread. So the coronavirus is not the start of social distancing. We bought into it a long time ago. We bought into social distancing a long time ago. It's just now that we have this so called pandemic that now we are being forced into social distancing. But they knew that they were going to do this many years ago. See, all of this shit is already mapped out. They knew that this was going to happen. So what did they have to do? They had to come up with ways to make it more easy to, in other words, let me say it this way. They had to come up with a way where we would agree to it in a manner that we wouldn't fight against it. So what did they do? They gave us YouTube, they gave us Facebook, they gave us Instagram, and they gave us all of these other social media outlets. Now I get it. Some of us use these tools. Some of us use these things as a tool. But there are those people who live, breathe, eat, shit social media. And it creates a disruption in your harmonic balance. It creates a disruption in your connection with other people. It creates a separation. So this has been going on for quite some time. Let me go back to Jim Jones for a minute. This is what a lot of people missed about Jim Jones, the cult leader I'm referring to, not the rapper, the cult leader. And it's very interesting that he names himself after him, but hey, whatever the case may be. I don't know if he named himself after Jim Jones or not. I don't know. But well, who cares? That's not the point. When you go back to the Guyana tragedy, A lot of people want to blame, and this may be an unpopular view, but I don't give a fuck. I'm going to say it. When you go back to the Guyana tragedy, and see, I've studied that, and I've watched it, and I've seen the subliminal messages in it. You have to go into it with your third eye open so you can see past the bullshit. Now, Jim Jones was a crazy, psychotic motherfucker, but he had some motherfucking help. He had some help. Jonestown was an experiment in social fucking distancing. They were also an experiment in socialism. He took people out of the United States, separated them from their families and everything that they knew, and they lived separate in a place called Jonestown, Guyana. They socially distanced themselves away from the public because they were a cult. Jonestown was an experiment that was orchestrated by the United States government back in the 1970s. That is why in the movie The Guyana Tragedy and in real life, that is why they had elevated Jim Jones as the Commissioner on Human Rights when he was in Indiana before he even moved to Ukiah, before he moved the People's Temple to Ukiah, California. They had elevated him to the government, had put him on the Commission for Human Rights. He was the Human Rights Commissioner. When he moved to Guyana, he had the cooperation with the Guyanese government to build Jonestown. He didn't have that by himself. He didn't get there by himself. There was some cooperation with the United States government because it was an experiment. It was an experiment in terror. Just like this shit right here, this social distancing and everything that comes with it is an experiment in terror. Now, those of us, such as myself, who are more conscious, we have our moments, but we're not panicking like other people were panicking behind this coronavirus. As much as I have been out, I'm still healthy. Just saying. So a lot of things, so people can say a lot of things about, and I know I'm talking about Jim Jones a lot, and the reason I'm talking about him is because I'm getting channels. I'm getting channels from those people and from him, because what's happening now is a similar rendition of what happened back then. Now, again, I'm not victimizing Jim Jones. I'm not saying that he was a good guy, no shit like that. But what I'm saying is this, there could have been some spiritual repercussions for why things went down the way they did in Guyana, because he did push the natives off, the indigenous natives off of their land to build Guyana. He did push them off of their land. So there could have been some spiritual repercussions from those spirits. And it could have been a combination of both. I'm getting it's a combination of both. Jonestown was an experiment. That is why Leo Ryan, who was on the committee for intelligence, went down to Guyana, not to free those motherfucking people. That just had to come with the territory. He went down to Guyana to check up on the motherfucking experiment. And when they found out that the experiment was not going well, they ordered all of them motherfucking killed and executed, including Leo Ryan, who had been in a lot of controversy with the Senate Intelligence Committee because he was very, very critical of the CIA and their practices. So getting rid of Leo Ryan, along with the inhabitants of Jonestown, was a win-win situation for the government at that time. Jonestown was a social experiment in social distancing. And now We then looped back around to forced social distancing now. So then, after that experiment, many years later, 20 some odd years later, you know, or maybe even a little bit more, maybe 26, 30 years later, we start coming into the age of technology and apps and cell phones and shit like that. And then we come into the era of Facebook and all these other fucking apps. Facebook has caused so much division between people as a culture and a society. People are on Facebook, people were on Facebook and are on Facebook more than anything else. People would rather hold their heads down talking to people on Facebook rather than pick up the phone and actually hear a person's voice. So the point that I'm making, beloveds, is that social distancing did not just start with the coronavirus. We accepted it, we manifested it. They put it out, we accepted it, and we manifested it. We started socially distancing from each other in the early 2000s when Facebook came onto the scenes with Mark Zuckerberg and all them other motherfuckers. They knew this was this Facebook, all of that was an experiment, and it was a, what do they call it? It was a there's a certain word, they call it a pre something. That was a, let's just say that was a precursor. Let me say that. That was a precursor to what they were planning 16 years into the future. Forced social distancing. And now you see people talking about one world social distancing because they're trying to strip people of their individuality and their individual identities. That's what this shit is all about. Stripping you of your individual identity so you won't be able to say, hey, listen, I don't go along with the collective. I want to do what I want to do. Let's loop back around to Jonestown. That's the same thing that happened with the cult in Jonestown, with this experiment in Jonestown. Anybody that thought outside of the box or anybody that went against Jonestown, what would they do to that person? They would either shame them, torture them, or kill them. So we have accepted social distancing for a long time. We have been up under social distancing for a long time. We just didn't know it because because it wasn't forced. But it was slowly being implemented right in front of our motherfucking faces with Facebook, YouTube, and all of these other social media outlets. And we missed the entire motherfucking thing until we had to do it forcefully, until it was forced upon us. See, Facebook is not a part of my life. YouTube is not, I don't eat, sleep, breathe YouTube. I don't care how many subscribers I have or don't have. I'm going to say what I want to say. And that's just that. This is a tool. This is not my life. And I told you all, I had just noticed, I've been talking about this for a long time. I've noticed how people don't like to pick up the phone no more and talk to people. Everybody just wants to text now. Nobody wants to pick up the phone and say, how you doing? Everybody just wants to go to a text. That's social distancing. That's part of that. That's part of that ritualization and that experiment that has been implemented on us over the years. And it's just now it's been implemented on a forceful level, on a legal level, because of some damn coronavirus, allegedly. So social distancing is not something that just started. This has been around for quite some time. We just didn't know it. And we didn't know that we were accepting it. We accepted social distancing open-heartedly. But now that we have to do it, now that it's mandatory, people are panicking. because we've never had this type of, you know, energy forced on us like this. Oh yeah, but it's been happening in small increments. When they gave us Facebook, when they gave us cell phones and texting and all that bullshit. All of those tools, all of those things create a division between you and other people. Most people would rather sit behind the computer and look at you get naked behind the computer versus them coming to your home and you having some form of human contact with that person. That is what I have found over the years. That's social distancing. So it's been here for quite some time. We just did not have a name for it. And now that I look back over history, especially with the Guyana tragedy, I see remnants of social distancing even within that. That was a social distancing experiment, an experiment in terror that went absolutely wrong. And it was orchestrated by the United States government, the CIA to be exact, behind the scenes. But anyway, I just wanted to expound upon that, darlings. And that's all I really have to say for now. Thank you.